Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. I am back. I do apologize. The number one thing that I was fearful of was a technical difficulty. And in the first 15 seconds, we had that, but we're back. We persevere. This is my first time doing something like this, but I'm thankful for all of you guys for being here, for your patience. If you did get that link, send it out. I'm not sure who was in the room before, but we are clear to go now. I've let you guys wait long enough. So thank you again for being here and ready to chop it up with Jaleesa. So I'll bring her in a minute. I want to start by introducing myself, and I also see there's some people in our waiting room. Um, so I will explain how I can bring you guys onto the screen if you do have questions and answers towards the end. But before we get into all of that, my name is Jasmine. I am the moderator for this evening. This is my YouTube channel, My Keen Imagination. It was simply just an ode to my younger child to do all the things that make me happy, explore more all the things that make me happy. Some of that includes art. You can see I have an art wall. I love arts and craft. Reading used to be something that I was really, really into when I was a child. And then as you get older, of course, you start to drift away from that or don't make time for that. So I am challenging myself to stay committed and stay into all of the things reading. I'm exploring new books, independent genres I never really did. And I'm doing it on YouTube in hopes to have someone else do it because in my experience, reading with someone is fun because you could talk about it. You can you can be stressed out together and things like that. Another goal that I had for the channel was to interview authors. So what better way from my little baby channel to have this experience with Jaleesa this evening? Because one thing I love about reading and writing and storytelling is when you get to actually go through that motion with the person who actually wrote the book. So I'm super, super excited for this night. I have a night filled with some activities, some questions for Jaleesa, who I'll be bringing on in less than 30 seconds now. Um, but yes, in the meantime, in between time, let me know where you're watching from. Hey, everyone in the comments, I can kind of see you. Um, Drop in the comments where you're watching from, and I will go. If you're not able to comment, you may not have a YouTube channel. If you want to make one, what you can do is quickly just use your email address to make a channel. And that will give you access to commenting. Otherwise, at the end of this stream, it'll be available if you want to revisit and leave some encouraging words to Jaleesa. You can leave it all there, or you can share them all on her Facebook page. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Oh, for the question and answers portion, if you do want to ask a question directly to Jaleesa, I can bring you on this little panel thing, and you'll see when I bring Jaleesa on. So in that case, you don't have to have your camera on, but if you want to come on and just ask your question, you can have just a microphone. You can ask it directly. You can send encouraging words, whatever you want to do with that time. So with that all being said, if you have any questions, you can leave them. I'll get to them when I see them. Let me just check. Oh, I see Houston. Hi, Houston. I know some of the people in this chat. Hi, New Orleans. So I know quite a few of you guys in here. So I know. Hi, Queens. Yes. So can everyone hear me okay before I bring Jaleesa on? Perfect. Thank you, Dejanique, for letting me know. Okay. All right. And like I said, for the people who are in like my panel room, like on StreamYard, if you are having difficulties with seeing this, you can watch it from YouTube. And then if you do want to come back and ask a question, I can bring you back into StreamYard because I know you probably got a special link. Hi, Houston. I see mommy is here, Jaleesa. Okay, so with all that being said, we are going to now bring in Jaleesa, the lady of the evening. Give me 1 second.
Hi.
Hey, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? I'm sorry about all those little hiccups, but you have been so patient with me. So I appreciate that. And for those who are in the comments, Jaleesa and I, we actually went to undergrad together. So like this is just a second plus for me, not only interviewing an author, but someone that I know that accomplish this amazing accolade. So just having this opportunity, I'm super grateful for her for just jumping on it when I said, Jaleesa, come over here and let me celebrate you. So we went to college together. I remember seeing her freshman year definitely, but Jaleesa was known for her fro. She had this perfect fro, and I used to always, I promise you, every time I saw her, ask her, "How did you get that fro hug?" And she was like, "It's easy, just look up a braid." And I'm like, "No, I mean, like, how did you get your hair like that?" Because I wasn't transitioning at that time, so I used to just always admire her from the side when I would see her in like these women empowerment events. We also did, we were in a group social club together, Natural and Proud Sisters. So yeah, whenever I see her, I'm just like admiring her and her calm demeanor that she always had. She just was that girl. So so okay, are you ready to get into it, Jaleesa?
Yes. Hello to everyone who is watching as well.
Yes, we have a lot. I told you mommy's in the chat. Say hello. So all right, so we are going to start with me getting into Jaleesa's about me. Give me 1 second. I thought that was one of the things that I had pulled up. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So Jaleesa McCutcheon is a Houston, Texas native and the prime definition of a Southern belle. She has 15 years of experience working with children in a variety of settings, including mentoring and individual and group therapy. She recently released her first book, Confessions of a Pygmy Girl, a Christian fictional story about a young lady's journey towards finding love. Jaleesa holds a bachelor's degree in social work from Clark Atlanta University and a master's in social work with a certificate in family practice from Tulane University. Her passion is to help future generations of women flourish into the roles God designed for them. Lovely, lovely about me, Jaleesa. All right, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna start off, get our juices flowing. I know we had some hiccups. We're gonna start with a quick icebreaker. Are you up for that?
Okay.
Okay, so let me get my little banner. The name of this icebreaker is called These Are My Confessions. And those in the chat, feel free to kind of, you can participate as well if you want to. It's going to be a this or that type of a thing. So I'm going to ask Lisa about maybe 10 questions. Some of them could potentially get this live shut down based on how she answers, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so number one, summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. You are basically like a spring summer baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Country living or city living?
City living.
Okay. Are you an early bird that gets the worm or a night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. So what's your daily like wake up time if you have one?
So I wake up at least by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. That's not me. Power to you. Flats or heels?
I guess it just depends. I like to be barefooted, honestly, but it just depends on the occasion.
I feel like right in college, you was always wearing heels to class. You were one of them. You would wear those little boots with the heels. Yep, you were one of them 9 o'clock classes on the promenade. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Okay, what's your favorite cake?
Birthday cake. I like birthday cake.
Okay. Are you a person that likes to call or text?
I like to call.
Okay. Now this is a trick question. There's only one right answer.
Okay.
If you were to eat or make grits, you want salt or do you want sugar?
I want both. I like them both.
Where does the sugar come in?
I just like them both.
I mean, I guess the only right answer to that, and I'm watching the chat. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me get into it. Is salt and butter. If I wanted sugar, I'd make some cream and wheat. Some cream and wheat.
Look, and I put butter in it too, still.
Yeah,
So
I mean, the one thing about the chat right now, they are not on your side. Um, they are saying all sorrow I can see.
listen,
Okay. Next one. I mean, you saved yourself because it was about to be shut down in a second if you didn't say so. But you saved yourself. I guess you like the little mix with it. All right, next one. This guy kind of explores love languages and love and stuff. So, would you rather, or do you actually perform acts of service, or would you rather words of affirmation?
words of affirmation.
Okay. What is your love language? Do you know?
So, and the chat might have something different to say on this, but I believe all of them. Like I
Yeah,
need all of them at
yeah,
certain times.
absolutely. I feel like you need to have all of them in some type of capacity. There's not one that leads the other. A hug is a physical touch. Acts of service. I took out the garbage for you. Whatever. Those things are very important. So I
Mhm.
agree with you. Are you a person that rather get in a passenger seat or are you driving?
Passenger.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay, and are you usually fashionably late or you always on time, like Ja Rule and Ashanti?
Lately, I've been late a lot.
Okay. But I will say you usually are on
Like,
time. I 10 by 10 is
yes.
okay. And I think okay, this is kind of like a bonus. If you were flying with a friend, a family member, maybe a partner or whomever, and you were selected to be bumped up to first class for free, would you accept the free upgrade and say bye, see you when we get there, or are you gonna stay and hold it down and coach in the main cabin?
I'm gonna stay and hold it down.
You, your partner he must be right there. It's all right. It's right in the chat. Right. 'Cause if I get the free one,
Uh,
I see y'all. Why you staying? Oh, you just want to be. Imagine a 7-hour flight.
what? Oh, mm, yeah. I'm gonna stay and hold it down still.
Let me see what the chat's saying. I feel like the one person who probably, but she probably, okay, two people are holding it down. Y'all nice. The only person I would probably hold it down for is my mama, but she probably will be because she gonna leave me. She's gonna say bye. So I mean, that's the only person, but she probably will get her own hookup in that way. But thank you so much for playing that with me. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I agree with Khadijah. First class me. I'll see y'all when we get there. When we touch down, we're going to the same place. All right. So thank you for that. Right now, we're going to transition. And I'm going to have you read us an excerpt from your book if you have one ready.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, what I'm about to read from you comes from a chapter called. Sorry. It comes from a chapter called "Homie, Lover, Friend," and so I'm just gonna read a little snippet of something from that chapter. So, Jordan felt so betrayed by Levi that she confronted him immediately when she saw him again. Just like the lying nigga she suspected him of being, he denied telling Connor anything. She was heated and distanced herself from Levi from that day forward.
Thank you. And I remember when I was reading Homie Lover Friend, it was a lot. Baby, that was a lot going on in that chapter with Jordan. I think after that chapter is when I took a break and I said, okay, let me resume. There's a lot of transitions going on. Nice one. Okay, so we are going to start with the question. So once again, guys, as you have questions, you can leave them in the comments. But towards the end, I will have the space for you guys to either come up and ask directly Jaleesa any questions that she have, even if you haven't read the book, you just want to explore her writing process. And just, in general, if you want to come up on the panel and say hello, I can open up that space for you. All right, so now we're going to get into Confessions of a Pick Me Girl. Let's start there. Let's start with the title.
Mm-hmm.
What is a pick me girl?
So, a pick me girl is basically a girl who is willing to do anything to impress a guy.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say a girl doesn't like going out. Like, she's an introvert, she likes staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
But her guy likes going out. He's the life of the party. So, in order to stay with him, she's gonna go out with him and be the life of the party just to keep up with him instead of being true to who she really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think everybody has a little bit of pick me in them?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I feel like as you were talking about that, essentially pick me is someone who kind of molds into what they think a person wants. Like you mentioned, if you like to go outside and you don't like to go outside, I'm gonna go outside because I want them to choose me. If I know I'm not into all the little stuff that you're into, I'm just gonna do it so that person, in hopes that they choose me. So basically, this book kind of explores different things that maybe Jordan kind of had to face within herself, and just in general, pick me attributes that a person can have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And this also is a Christian fiction, right? So talk to me about how your faith contributes within your writing.
So, how my faith contributes is within what I choose to write. I want to make sure that I'm living up to it in some way,
Mm-hmm.
and that what I write is true to me and can be an experience or a learning experience for the reader as well. So, with my faith and my walk in Christ, if I'm struggling in an area, maybe the reader may be struggling within that area as well. So that's how I contribute it.
That's amazing. And you implemented a lot of different Bible stories with women in there. So it made it easier to, even as you apply it within your life, to, I guess, kind of contrast or contribute to whatever lesson you're talking about, whatever you wanted to kind of be out there. So that was helpful for me as well. When did you, I don't want to, the way I'm wording it, I want to be very particular around, but actually start to explore the Bible and its teachings a lot? Did you notice that within yourself?
So actually, while writing this is when, because like I said, I didn't want to put out the wrong thing and it's not lining up to the word. I do have, like you said, scriptures within the book. And
Mm-hmm.
so while interpreting within Jordan's journey, I wanted to make sure that what I was saying was actually what the scripture is saying,
Yeah.
because sometimes we just go based off what someone is telling us versus reading the Bible ourselves to get a
Yes.
true interpretation.
Yes.
And that was my journey. Like, I had to read those scriptures and really have that come to Jesus moment for myself and learn what he was saying within those scriptures.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. How long did it take you to write this story, and when did you start?
So I started this right in the mix of the pandemic when
Mhm.
we was told to go on lockdown and writing. And it took me at least a year and a half, maybe a little over that, to write everything and get it to go and flow the way that it ended. That's cool.
So this is like a brand new baby, because 2020, and then you finish it about a year and a half, and then publishing. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, congratulations again. All right. So one of the main themes of this book, you have a few of them, but is around love. So is there a perfect love story to not only you, but to Jordan? Like, what do you think Jordan's perfect love story looks like?
I think Jordan is still trying to figure out what that perfect love story looks like. At another chapter within the story is happily ever after,
Mm-hmm.
and with that, I think she is trying to still figure out what her happy ending is looking like. Yeah, I think it was more so of listening or depending on this fairy tale image we are, I guess, we all see growing up
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
young girls to adulthood,
Mhm.
and learning that, hey, that is really not true. And hey, you have to figure out what God has for you on this journey of love.
Absolutely. I mean, Jordan had a very specific what her happy ending was going to be, you know, the white picket fence, who her husband was going to be, what they were going to do together. And I think that through the book, you kind of not really Jordan's perspective shifted a little bit, but it still was kind of still trying to ground itself because like I don't want to lose what I think love's supposed to look like. But I guess love, as you grow, you face like heartbreak, you're picking yourself up, you're learning through self growth, self acceptance, and all those things. It can be molded in a sense where it might not look like that on paper, but some way somehow. I think that's what Jordan was trying to attribute towards the end in Happily Ever After. Okay. The story was written in a way of exploring life with as Jordan got older. So we started with her in high school, and it ended kind of, I guess, in the present day. She's like around her either late 20s, early 30s or so. How do you think and before I set this question up, I'm asking because Jordan's internal voice was very loud throughout the book. Like she was narrating it, but like one of the times when she was kind of like upset with herself or whatever, it was loud. So how do you think Jordan would describe her younger self? And how do you think Jordan would describe her present self?
So, how she would describe her younger self, she would say that she was timid, that she was hopeless,
Mm,
um, and that she was just adapting to whatever life was bringing her way.
okay. So we have timid, a little hopeless, and adapting, which
Mhm.
goes back to kind of like the title of molding to whatever needed to be done, and that essentially is why she's pick me, or as you described. Now, what about her present day, or how the book ended?
I would say that she was determined,
Okay,
um, courageous, and still timid at times with trying to figure certain obstacles or paths she should take as well.
okay. What um, what chapter was your favorite to write?
So, my favorite chapter to write was Puppy Love because it was just easy to reminisce or have. I work with children, so just it's
Mhm.
one of those, I guess, guidelines to go by.
Yeah.
But Puppy Love was easy to just write. It was fresh. It was something to start off the storyline and probably get a direction of how I wanted it to go. So, yeah.
And I would say everybody has puppy love. You can't run from that. Like in some way, somehow, I think especially at that age, because I'm assuming puppy love was like with the high school, even if it was your middle school years, you have
Hmm.
that person you have a crush on, and you think like this gonna be my husband, or this gonna be my wife, this gonna be whomever, I'm gonna be with them forever.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what love means, what it takes. It's just you're my boyfriend for today, and that's it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I loved Puppy Love as well. I also liked Grown Woman too. What chapter would you say was the hardest?
So the hardest to write was two. It was Daddy's Issues and
Mhm,
Happily Ever After. Um, with Daddy's Issues, Jordan was being, like you said, loud, and she was, really trying to go give the reader the authentic and reality of what it is to get over those issues, how to forgive, how to love and accept her father for who he was and the man he had grown to be. So that was kind of hard to write because that was something personal that I had to experience,
wow.
but and was still dealing with and put into the story
Yeah.
line to align with that.
Yeah. And what about Happily Ever After?
Happily Ever After, it was hard because of trying to figure out how to end the story without having it be a happy ever after ending. Like,
So interesting. So it's kind of like a play on words.
yeah,
Like it's happy ever after because that's what we expect at the end of a rom-com movie or whatever. But it's
hmm,
also like this story is still not finished.
yeah,
So right now, present day, it feels like okay. Because I remember some of the things you used to mention, Jordan, was even though she's a little timid, she's a little bit more determined and courageous and things like that. But she's still figuring it out, and she still has that grace to figure it out.
yeah.
Um, a few things you had said in there, and I'm like, which one do I want to go with next? But thank you for that. Going back a little bit, because you had talked a little bit about working with children and things like that. And I know you are in the social work field, you're a social worker.
Hmm.
So this question I'm kind of proposing around like working with children because when you're talking about puppy love and you're saying like, in that you're using a very relatable type of a context for kids and teens, we'll use teenagers, young adults and things like that.
Hmm.
So when you're exploring different types of love, the lessons, rejection, familial love, daddy's issues plays a role, even sometimes mommy issues too.
Hmm.
Feeling neglected by a parent, having that self-acceptance issue, rejection. How do you ground yourself, talking about you, when going to work and showing up and preparing to work with children who may have some of those inner things that they're trying to work through but don't quite understand yet?
So first, I make sure that I'm being transparent
Okay.
with my students. Um, I show up with just like I said, being transparent, being real and honest with them at what needed, um, and um, allowing myself to just be there to be like I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to have all the answers or things of that nature. So I allow myself to be in the moment with them,
Hmm.
and let them be feel like they let them understand that they are being heard, empathizing with them,
Yeah.
and giving them that chance to just all my students know that they can come there and have that can be their safe haven.
Yeah. Yeah, that is truly and truly important. Even my work, I work with children some type of capacity too. So that is really important, just around being transparent and empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think one thing that is a common theme with young children, teenagers, whomever, even sometimes young adults, is they think that they're in this alone. Nobody knows, nobody can relate to me because they don't know my story, or
Mm-hmm.
nobody can relate to me because they don't know what I go through. And sometimes just sharing, whether it's a personal experience or something bigger, like they're like, oh, okay, so this a little bit. It's not mine, but you can relate. So that's super important. Being therapists, social workers, teachers, anything that works directly with children, because we also frame the outlook that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. And you have mentioned something too around like the happily ever after chapter. Now we're kind of like going back. Um, and you were saying that you were trying to figure out how to end it. So do you think that the story is still developing and there's room for a part two later on, maybe 5, 10 years down the line?
I do think that Jordan is still developing and figuring things out. Now, will there be a part two or this and that? I honestly don't know. I do not know. We'll see in 5 or 10 years later. I don't know the answer to that
Okay. Okay. We'll touch back. I'm sure people want to know too if it's going to be. But I mean, it was such I wrote this, or I said this when I did my review around it. It felt like it was literally like girl talk, when you're just sitting there and you're talking with your girlfriends or whatever. So it's just a story that's so familiar. So, of course, like leaving it kind of on that cliffhanger, people would expect or look forward to hearing it, or like, well, how does the story end, or where does it go next? Because things pop up every day.
yet. Right.
Um, Another thing you have brought up, I said the book covered a lot of themes, was around forgiveness. And specifically, there was 2 chapters that were pretty difficult because and just how I know how so many people deal with these common things. So generational curses was one that I felt was harder. And just hearing from Jordan's perspective of her family life and the woman who raised her and kind of seeing like the commonality even going, and you're trying so hard to avoid that. Like, I don't want what this looks like, and how can I have a different outcome from my story? But sometimes it feels like it's hard to avoid, right? But generational curses and the daddy issues, I felt like there was a lot of forgiveness that had to kind of be done, as well as a lot of holding that same thing you had said a little bit earlier around that empathy, around like seeing a person for who they are,
Mhm.
um, to kind of get you for yourself to elevate. And so do you think because of that, and because Jordan, even though she might hold on to like harboring these feelings of just feeling like, well, dang, like because of this, I feel neglected in this area, and because of this, I feel neglected in this area. Uh, because she was able to forgive, did that help to elevate her to have a different outlook on some of the things she faced later on in her life?
I would say yes, it did, but I also think that with her forgiveness, it was a every like she was still struggling with it as time progressed because sometimes you think you may forgive someone, but you could be triggered by one little thing. And I think within Jordan's storyline, she ended up becoming triggered with things. And so she had to re forgive or
Mhm.
see how that forgiveness showed up within that area with the next person that she was talking with or dealing with at that time.
Yeah, because the last partner, I think Stefan, he kind of got joined together. He was like, "You need to deal with that."
Mhm.
So yeah, how would you describe forgiveness? Like what is forgiveness? I know it's such a broad question, but since you said you struggled or you thought you forgave and you really were still harboring feelings, how would you describe forgiveness, and how do you know that you have, in a sense, come to peace with what you needed to forgive somebody on around?
So, like I just said, that forgiveness is something that it's a process. Um, it's something that one continuously has to go through with whoever they're choosing to forgive. I think you have forgave them when you're able to be around them
Mm,
and not be triggered by anything, or if someone else comes and may have those same characteristics or may have did something that the person who you're trying to forgive, excuse me, has done, then you're able to just let it fly because you're no longer bound by that because forgiveness is a release for yourself. It releases you and brings a different energy, a different flow within you. So I think it's a forever learning process and it's something that we all struggle with and we're all, you know, trying to maneuver through,
yeah,
through.
yeah. That's a very authentic answer around that. So thank you. With that being said, I spoke a little bit earlier around how Jordan's inner voice was very loud, especially as she's talking through the different phases of her life that she has to go through. So do you think that Jordan forgives herself? Because there's a lot of like present day conversations, but like, oh, okay, remember this happened and she spent this time with such and such, whatever. Would you say that Jordan forgave herself by the time the book ended?
For some things, yes, but with others, she is still trying to process that and really see if like how can she forgive herself? How does that look like?
Mhm.
What that look like for her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess it goes back to the part two of everything.
This is why this is why it has to come because you're still working, Jordan's still working through that.
Mhm.
So, okay, I think we're almost coming towards the end. So those of you guys who are still watching, still here with us, if you have any questions, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a quick pause and I'm gonna throw in this link where you can join directly if you want to come up on the panel, I guess, and ask Jaleesa a question. So let me just do that really quickly. I'll put it in the chat. And then for those of who have just regular questions you want to just ask, you can get them prepared. Uh, okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's my first time, you know. So there's the link that will take you directly to where we are. So if you do have any questions, just let's leave a comment saying you want to be brought up, because like I mentioned, there are a few people who are in this part of my screen, and I'll say your names. I have Olivia, Dejanique, and Jennifer. So I don't know if you guys want to come up and ask a question. Um, so just clarify around that. But if you do want to come up actually to this panel thing, you don't have to have your camera on. You can ask there, or you can just leave a comment. Okay, so let me come back. Another thing I wanted to ask is, in this day and age, these dating streets are trash, basura, for lack of better words, right? How or what I would say is, how did you find the courage to even write about love in a time where I guess situationships and a lot of people's perception of love is kind of skewed. A lot of things seem to be transactional and things like that. Um, how did you find the courage in just writing a book about love and relationships from this very vulnerable place?
I think it was needed. Like you said, what we going through now in the dating scene, it just needed some type of hope or some type of encouragement to not give up on love if that's your journey, if that's how you feel or you want real love. Don't give up on it. Like, it is hope at the end of the tunnel, and I just wanted to write something within that because I know that I personally have been there, and there is hope.
Yeah. Okay. And it felt like in almost all the chapters, um, piggybacking off of what you just said, there was a huge thing. Well, we know this is younger Jordan. She truly wanted marriage and the children. So is that still on the table for Jordan? Or because she's grew through a lot of things, there's still room for it, but it might not be something right now.
Yes, um, there is still room for it, and it may come later. But I think Jordan has come to accept that if it doesn't come, she'll be okay too. Like, she's okay at the end.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Also too, I will drop my email address. If you are not able to leave a comment because you don't have um a YouTube account, you can shoot me a quick email and I will see this. We do have one. I guess some person emailed me before. This is a question. If you had to make a movie and cast someone to be Jordan, who would you cast? That's a fun question.
Oh, Jordan would actually. I would.
Okay. Okay. Why? Why Jordan would?
I just like her. I don't know.
Is that is she's really big on social media, right? I
Yes,
feel like I know who Jordan Wood is, but
he
I'm
was
trying to remember.
one of the Kardashian or Jenner
Yes.
friends.
Yes. Okay. Coolness. All right. So um let me change this on. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions? We'll leave this. Were there any other comments that you wanted to just add around the book, Jaleesa, as we wait around to see if there's any questions and stuff?
So I guess I would like to say, like, Confessions of a Pygmy Girl is a Christian fictional story, but it does bring the reader to sit in and think of it from their perspective as well. Um, it makes you feel like it's you, like Jasmine said, like it's you and your friends having this dialogue with one another, and hopefully it brings healing in a way that it brought to Jordan. Is my hopes for the reader.
I love that. Hold on. What is this? Were there anyone? So it's interesting because I'm also reading something else around like spinning the block. Were there anyone from Jordan's past, respectfully, that she would think there could have been a second chance with?
Yeah.
Homie lover friend.
No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and the reason why I asked that is because, well, for those who are watching, spinning when I say spin the block, is essentially like if you were together with someone, things didn't work out, and there's just like maybe exploring thing, um, a little bit later on, and seeing like because you're both in two different times, so that's why I was just curious because there's different situations, and sometimes timing may not just be a thing, right? All right, we have a question, or I think it's a comment. Jordan is a pygmy girl. Does she have a certain standard in men? So, what would Jordan's standard in men be, or basic standard?
I don't think she had any standards in men. I think she just went with the flow. Like whatever guy came her way, she was okay with it. But I think at the towards the end, it wasn't more so of a standard, it's how God presented her
Mm,
Prince Charming to show up for her.
okay. Anyone? That was a good one. Anyone else? Thank you, Nikki. Let me check. I'm checking all of them. I'm almost afraid to answer to pull up YouTube. That's what made that echo things go off. So I'm gonna check it from my phone real quick. It doesn't seem like it. Okay, we have an anonymous question. Who would play Levy, Connor, and Stefan?
Levi, Connor, and Stefan. Michael B. Jordan could play Stefan. Lil Scrappy can play.
Okay.
And Connor, ooh, yeah. If DMX was still alive, I think he could have played him.
Okay. That actually really gives you kind of like a authentic perspective of what these characters and just a good visual because I know you described them really well in the book too. All right, we got some questions in the chat. Nikki asks, does Jordan require her man to accommodate her as well? I'm assuming that's for present, where she ended with Stefan.
Yes, she does. Yes.
Okay. You want to? I'm assuming they want you to elaborate, Jaleesa. Jordan's Jordan coming through you being timid.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back if you
Yeah.
like. We'll circle back on that one. All right, from Miss Jennifer, who would you pick to play the mom if you made a movie out of this book? Choose wisely.
Who would I choose to play them? Tyler Perry, but yeah. Only because I think Medea is very like strong-headed.
This for the mom?
Yeah.
Miss Jennifer, I didn't.
But she knows why I would pick Medea.
Okay. I'm thinking back to the specific thing I think when Jordan went back to home and Mama pressed her and Jordan was toe to toe with Mama for a second. So I think I can see because when you think about Medea's character, there's a lot of like monologues that kind of go around like tough love, but also like I'm giving you this tough love to kind of bring endurance and stuff. Or I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so I can
And
see.
she's
I'm like,
like
you couldn't think of nobody
she's
else.
a funny character, and I think well that wasn't really shine on in the book, but in the movie I think it would give the opportunity to really get that insight.
Okay. And basically, you also saying that if something was about to nuck and buck, Mama will be right there. Okay, so I'm pulling specific other themes from Medea instead of just like the face front thing.
Yeah.
We have a question from Khadijah. Hey Khadijah, talk about Jordan's character development and her growth and some potential flaws of the pick me lifestyle.
So her growth is oh okay that was a lot. Let me
Well, okay, let's break it down. Let's break it into two. Let's talk about Jordan's character development. So thinking back to in the beginning when I had asked around like how would Jordan describe herself, you gave us some of those adjectives that you would describe her. But I guess in a chronological order, how would you talk about Jordan's character development in that sense?
so like the story does start off with Jordan being in high school and going off to college and becoming a young adult and things of that nature, like developing into the woman that she wants to become, or she
Okay.
this visual that she has.
Mhm.
So within her growth, I think she's learning to find her voice. Um, she is learning that being a pick me girl is not getting her nowhere. Um, being the girl who to please a guy or to be there for the moment guys around her is not getting her to that destination of her wanting to be a wife or a mother. But
Mhm.
she's also learning too that that lifestyle of becoming a wife and a mother is a growth within itself. It's something that she um, has to learn each role for herself, how what that looks like for her, and she has to be okay if it never comes to fruition. So yeah, that is, I guess, the potential flaws of the pick me girl lifestyle. It's just learning that to be true to who she was. Like it's okay to want to be a wife or a mother, but it's also okay if it never happens, or um, if it do happen later on in life. There's no time limit on it, and things of that nature.
Okay. I have a from that question, I think another question came to my mind because um just reflecting on me being the reader, and I'm sure other readers, you said that Jordan would be okay if it never comes into fruition. But I think too, a reader can have difficulty seeing that, especially with how often she spoke around even her personal conversations with God. And having those reflection moments, having being prophesized and these promises over your life, like yes, you will have that, you're working towards that. And I think that also goes back to that forgiveness part too, right? If Jordan does she forgive herself? And it was mentioned that she's still kind of processing it. Um, through disappointments, through not getting everything. So I think as a reader, it's not really a question, just me reflecting and thinking my experience reading the book is like, would Jordan really be okay if it didn't come? But I think that's only up to Jordan to decide. I can't, bring my values and stuff to that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's,
yeah,
go ahead.
you know,
Were you gonna say something? I don't have you up. I was looking at my email.
yes, but yeah, Jordan will be okay.
Okay.
That's it. And I guess that's what the I guess part two would talk more so into.
Okay. Well, get your little fingers to writing because we need closure for that. I have an anonymous question. This is reflecting from generational curses. Do you think generational curses or I feel like I'm messing up the name of that chapter. They're related to women and family and love play a role in decision making for women today. So I guess the person's asking when people have generational trauma that kind of goes that's reflected straight into love, do you think that that plays a role in somebody developing into a pick me or someone not really going after love in the way that they think it should look like?
I do. Um, Let me make sure I'm understanding the question correctly. So,
I could read it. Hold on. Do you think that generational curses, for what it comes to, and they put that in quotations, related to women, family, and love, play a role in decision making for how women navigate looking for love today?
yes. So, if within a generational curse, so if a woman is raised in a single parent Jordan, for example, she's raised in a single parent household, she has not seen, um, I guess, her mom in a relationship, a healthy relationship.
Mhm.
So with her dating scene, she doesn't know what that looks like. So she can go looking for love or getting a guy who is Miss Prince Charming
Mhm.
or Stefan or whoever it may be, and still not be able to love him and have the way the way that love shows up or is supposed to look, because she was never taught that or not taught how to love a man within, due to those generational curses. It wasn't shown in her household, and it wasn't shown within her mom and with her grandparents' household as well. So does that answer it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, you're just basically saying that because Jordan has her experience and it plays prevalent in her own mind, it shows up in her own things that she's going through today.
Yeah.
Um, Another question. This is in a anonymous mode. Do you think when the book ends, Jordan still thinks that she's a pygmy?
When the book ran. I don't think she thinks she's a pygmy, but I think she um is trying to, how can I say? She's not. I don't feel that she is longer a pygmy. However, she is developing into the woman, like learning her role as a woman, because she's been single for so long.
Mhm,
She's been looking at these fairy tale images of how a woman is supposed to show up and look like in a relationship, but
mhm,
not really knowing her role as a woman of God and
mhm.
her role as how to show up in that moment in within a relationship. So not necessarily as a pick me girl, but I guess the question would be, is a pick me girl and a godly woman the same thing?
That's interesting you landed there because I got an anonymous question that said, "What's the difference between a pick me girl and a wife, or is there a difference?"
So and it can be where they are kind of the same, because although a pick me girl is someone who is willing to impress a guy, however, as a woman, we are supposed to be submissive and willing to, you know, follow the right man who's willing to lead us. But
Mhm,
we can't suppress who we are within those roles. So I
mm,
guess with a pick me girl, it's more so suppressing who you are just to be loved or just to be within the presence of the guy who you're at that moment. However, when you become a wife, you have hopefully had that time to live your life and do the things that you want to do or wanted to do, and we have found the guy who you marry, y'all become one, intertwined with the purpose. Y'all purposes align with one another. If that makes sense.
yes. Yes, it does. I have another anonymous. It says, "Do you think that Jordan settled at the end?"
I don't think Jordan settled. I think Jordan is again trying to learn, or she's trying to be. She's learning still
Mhm.
her role within being in that relation in her relationship.
Okay. And I think that goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier around Jordan. Through the years, I said Jordan was very judgmental towards herself. And, it feels like when she was 13, 14, high school years, she had to have it all together. Like the book started out where she said, "I'm gonna fix my hair, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna show up to the class and look like this so this person will like me." Towards the end, it seems like Jordan's kind of like not really worried about those other things, and she's working through some much tougher things, such as her relationship with her father, navigating love and what it looks like for her right now. So that was interesting for that. I have another question. Does Jordan look for men that are Christian as well? We'll start with that. It's a two-part question.
Yes. So I believe in the story. Jordan states being equally yoked with someone. So with her being a woman of a Christian background, a woman of God, she wants someone who is,
Mhm.
a man of God, who walks by faith, who can lead her.
Okay. And I guess you answered that. I was going to say, is she looking for a man to partner with her spiritually and including incorporating her values and such?
Yes.
Oh, Anonymous asks, would you say that most ladies know what it means to be a wife?
Uh, yeah. I don't think in today's society, I don't think so. I think, like again, we're giving this fairy tale image of what a wife should look like, with not really knowing what all comes within their role. I think it's very important that we, as women, find mentors or become like yoke ourselves up with women within those roles before we just jump into them, because it's a lot.
What do you say, or what do you think are the most important attributes for a person as you're preparing for the role to be a wife, or if they're looking to equally yoke with with a partner? What's the most important things that you would say that either is lacking or just important to have in general?
So where I think we lack is having that support system behind us. Like, I think our generation, we don't really have an older generation that we can go to get the guidance when things get hard. Like, we're so quick. We want the microwave relationships, and we're so quick to give up. But when things do get hard, who do we run to other than our friends who are within our peer age or things of that nature? I think it's, like I said, very important for us to have mentors that are older, who have been in a relationship for some time, who can guide us. Now, if you was raised in a situation where your parents have been married and you have your parents that can support you through those times, that's a blessing. But for most, it's not. That's not the case.
Okay. And so that was for what they lack. What do you think that they should have, or does it kind of coincide?
I think it kind of coincides. Like, they should have someone who they can talk to, or who is there to help them develop into, like, if I'll use myself for example. When I was single and looking for things, I started going reading books, self help books. I started being a part of a support group that was geared towards women becoming wives, having wives as mentors, and things of that nature, to help prepare me for the time come. With but even within that, because sometimes we don't want to hear or be listen to what others have to say as well. So it's just being, yeah, level.
It's okay. No, I know you said a lot, but what I got from that is just being really, truly present, level-headed, and not only willing to learn, but you have to be held accountable for a lot of the stuff too, because there's a lot of growth in that. So I think that's where you're getting to with needing to link up with someone who is already there. So that's whether it's joining groups, having a mentor directly, because you need somebody that's going to tell you how it is and help, I guess, for lack of better words, groom you in a sense, but keep you accountable too and help you grow and that type of stuff. All right, so we just hit the hour, and I know I am very appreciative of everyone's time here. Thank you so much for not only supporting myself but supporting Jaleesa ultimately in this. If you do not have the book Confessions of a Pygmy Girl, is available on Amazon. I believe the link is in my description box, so you can go ahead and pick it. It's a very quick, easy, and fulfilling read. Very relatable. Jaleesa, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to announce before we end the chat?
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jasmine, for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it for allowing me to come on your platform. Thank you, everyone who is has streamed in. I appreciate you taking the time out. And you can find me on Facebook at Jaleesa McCutcheon, or you can find me also on YouTube. I have a YouTube page, MJae, and yeah, I'll be doing a book signing in Houston if you're in the Houston area on March 19th. And I am open to feedback, reviews, whatever you may have, questions, whatever. Just hit me up. Thank you.
Yes. And if you do have the book and you want to have Jaleesa join in your book chat at the end, I'm sure she could be available. I will also get your email address, Jaleesa, so that I can put it into the chat as well. But all updates related to her book, any future upcoming projects, she can be found on Facebook at Jaleesa McCutcheon. And remind me your YouTube name.
MJae.
Hey, all right. So thank you all. I hope you have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Be gracious on yourself and gentle. And thank you all. Thanks again, Jaleesa. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.